Do certain foods affect your mood?
Ooh,
I feel like
yes.
that could be its own
That's a great question.
five-part series.
That's a great question. Yes, I think Andrea, we both love talking about this. So the answer is yes, definitely, because I think around, gosh, some of the research has changed a bit over the years as we've been studying the gut, since there's been so much research in the past decade or so. But about 90%, I think, Andrea, you can correct me if I'm wrong, of the immune system is actually located in the gut, because that's where we're receiving most of, external pathogens, is through what we're consuming. And just
Yeah.
that's one of the main ways things enter our bodies. Um so most of our serotonin receptors is actually found in our gut, meaning, yes, what we eat definitely impacts those receptors and how our serotonin is processing our food. And there's this gut brain connection that's going on, with our hormones and neurotransmitters. So, for example, people who have a gluten intolerance will probably end up feeling or showing symptoms of irritation, or mood swings, or they just feel like depressed or more anxious. And I found out like that happened to me for a while, and then I cut out gluten out of my gut and started seeing that my mood improved. So, and that's just an example. So gluten's a big one for a lot of people. Dairy can definitely impact mood as well. And this is also because of how they can be linked to inflammation. And so, in our immune system, we also have these inflammatory markers that can increase or decrease based on, if we're sick, or if we've eaten something our body doesn't like. Because if our body doesn't like it, then our immune system is signaled, and it's saying, okay, we need to get out whatever this is, because I'm not liking it. So, there's actually a immune system, gosh, I'm forgetting what it's called, but it's a chemical, and it can actually increase anger, and it can increase anxiety, because your body is in this inflammatory state and it's trying to deal with it. So yeah, Andrea, did you have anything else you wanted to add? That's kind of a little synopsis, but the answer is yes.
Yeah.
And then there's the
Yes. The
opposite too.
loaded question. Yeah.
Yeah, foods can also help us feel calmer as well, and they can also impact us in the opposite way. If we're eating
Right.
anti-inflammatory foods, um, if we're eating, if we're getting enough nutrients and vitamins
Right.
that we need, that help our neurotransmitters function the way that they need to. So that'll also definitely impact serotonin and other hormones as well.
That's really good. Really good. So the only other thing I think I would add to that is sugar. And so don't hear me telling you you have to cut out all sugar. I still enjoy sugar. Carly has sugar. Like, it's impossible to avoid altogether. But we do know that it does cause inflammation, like at the neurotransmitter level in the brain. And they've done a lot of studies on rats and animals and humans, to show that it just has more of a negative impact on the brain, not only because of how it changes like your insulin, your blood sugar regulation, and how that can affect our mood, but how it impacts like at the neurotransmitter level. So I find if I have, sugar one day, not a big deal. But if I'm having it, multiple times a day throughout the week, I notice that my mood starts to go like this. Like, I'm just a little bit more snappy. I don't sleep as well. I'm, more easily frustrated. And so I would say if you're not sure what you're responding to, and you're not sure like, is my mood impacted by what I'm eating, then just keeping a simple like food and mood journal can be really, really helpful. And I feel like, Carly, you explain that better than I do, because my method is madness when it comes to that. So I'll let you explain how you recommend people just kind of keeping a simple in their planner or whatever, and that might be helpful to identify.
Yeah, for sure. So this is really, really helpful. Even if you're experiencing random symptoms that you don't really know where they're coming from, keeping a food and mood journal is really good. So, what I recommend people to do is even like when you wake up in the morning, notice what your mood is. And then right before and after you eat each meal, just kind of assess and see how you feel. If you're feeling anxious, if you're happy, if you're a little depressed or whatever it is, if you're irritable. Um, and then just doing that before and after each meal, preferably within an hour before you eat and after you eat. And some people even, still are experiencing symptoms like a couple days or the day after. So doing this consistently for at least a week would take good inventory of how your food might be impacting your mood.
Yeah, no, that's really good. And it doesn't have to be down to like the micro detail.
Mhm.
But starting there is really helpful because then you can look back and look at patterns. So it's like mood was good, 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 bad. You know what I mean? Or like just using that as a scale. Then you can look back, okay, what were the meals that I was eating that I didn't feel like I either felt bloated or brain foggy or
Mhm.
irritable, or like my daughter is recovering from pandas, and so foods, like her immune system is not fully healed yet, and so food is still probably one of her number one triggers. And with that, we noticed that like her ADHD symptoms will go through the roof with certain foods. And they're not the foods you would think of, like sugar's a no-brainer, food dye is a no-brainer, like those kind of things, right? It's other things that are maybe more hidden. But I'll notice I'm like, she is really like all over the place today. Like, what did you eat for lunch? And then she'll tell me, like, oh, I didn't eat any protein. I just ate the rice cakes that you put in there and the banana and some jam. And I'm like, well, no wonder. Like, it was all sugar. And that blood sugar drop was just enough to trigger some of those neurological changes. So it is not outside the realm of normal or to be expected that our mood and even our neurological function is tied to what we're eating and what we're not eating. So just keeping like a simple journal, again, like you don't have to have anything fancy. You can just pull out your daily planner and make a note on there,
Mhm.
with your three meals, how did I feel? So Carly, did you have anything else you wanted to add to that?
I just a quick reminder and a cool way of basically looking at the connection between food and neurotransmitters and mood is I think like it's easy to believe that food feeds our organs and it feeds our muscles and our bodies, but it also feeds our brains. It feeds our cells. It feeds like it's what everything runs off of in our, even our neurotransmitters and
Right.
neurons and everything. So just keeping that in mind is like what Andrea said, it's not a surprise that everything is linked to, well, there's other factors, of course, but how we eat impacts a lot of things and
Totally.
it's the main fuel source. So,
Really good. And I love that you made it so simple, because I think I myself, I mean, like I said, I overcomplicate things and I'm like, oh, I just keep putting it off because it feels like one more thing to do. When really, like, in between bites, I could just be making a quick note on my phone
mhm,
of what I ate and then set a reminder on my phone to go back and just quick note. How did I feel? 1 star or 5 stars? Like, make it
yeah.
simple, right? So hopefully that helps you guys. That was really good information, Carly.